Sola steps up. Sola now with another knockout there, but he just explodes him. Zones them off, Copper's out on side, but Myrwn's now here. Up against the wall, it's a disaster. Rogue gets hit from two different angles. Myrwn's TP is everything.
Look Fetty. I'm looking Fetty. Fetty, no flash. They go to View. Nice. Good job. Hey, I got that kill, guys.
Well, MDK fights for another day as their countrymen are fighting in a stadium somewhere in Germany to beat Georgia. They are looking to beat Vitality to make it into the playoffs against all odds. Very much, I want to say, against all odds for both of these teams, who have frankly disappointed us for the majority of, I want to even say, the last two splits because of the potential for me that has been not realized. But it is a little bit poetic that Niski enabled all of this, and at the end of the day, it's the teammates of Carzzy versus Elyoya.
Or he just wants to see the world burn, you know, because it's his two ex-teammates pitting them against each other. But on a positive note, I am excited a little bit about MDK because coming into today, they were the least favorite to even get in this position. They had fate in their own hands and they seized it twice so far. But now with Vitality, it does look like it looks like they need to level up a little bit more.
It kind of reminds me of the way they approached this year, being disregarded completely. And this is when they were thriving the most, when not all the eyes were on them. And I feel like we saw a lot of better things on the side of MDK today, and I do feel like they can be the kind of thing that thrives a bit more under pressure, hence the results that we saw from them.
It could be. Zola, we also have Vitality, and we were talking about what we wanted to highlight in Vitality, and obviously the thought was to think, well, they lost against SK, but you said no, there were actually some positives that we can look at for this team.
I mean, they were literally one fight away from beating SK, who are tied for first place, so I think that's a more or less a success in itself in the position they are in. So if they can capitalize on that somehow. I really like their draft as well going in. Carzzy getting put on the Kalista, really getting ahead on bot lane. The Aurelion worked brilliantly, even though it was the first time we saw it in the entire split. So I think if they can keep working from that, just remembering that they were so close to actually being safe and not having to play a tiebreaker at all, if they can keep that momentum, I think that could really help them.
Yeah, they definitely leveled up in a lot of aspects this game. It just all the mistakes that they've been making before, the egregious, you know, everyone's getting caught before an objective and whatnot. Right now, they toned it down a lot. Healy was contained a little bit more. There was a lot more synergy. But in these small moments, making fights on top side when Vetheo is bought with Aurelion Sol, no TP, it just came to bite them. But still, they leveled up. But will it be enough?
Yeah, and it's often been a matter of discipline around Vitality, right? We keep on saying that we're frustrated watching this team, but when I look at the way they played earlier today, you were talking about Carzzy, you need to empower Carzzy, and I feel like last time it came down to draft and the fact that even though there was a swap lane, I felt like Vitality's bot lane had the better end of it, and you want to put Carzzy on the champion that's going to be able to enable the rest of the team, and that's going to make him shine in team fights.
I think it's also quite interesting in this matchup because for Supa we had unfortunately for him, right, he made the big statements about his ambitions, and I think you can never fault a player for doing that, ever. And I think he'll be the first to say that he wasn't happy with some of the games as they played out for MDK. Now he's up against a team where their strongest factor is their bot lane, so it has to start from minute one. Zola, as the expert here on the desk for the bot lane, right, how do you see this one play out?
I mean, they do have quite a momentum, right? They literally won more games today than in the entire split, so they have the ball rolling already. And I do like them play today on the bot lane as well. I think in this split in general, bot lane has been really, really important factor, and a lot of teams have been struggling, especially against the Korean bot lanes. So it was nice to see both Carzzy and Supa performing well today. But yeah, as you touched on, I think bot lane getting ahead is super essential for both teams, and it makes for an interesting draft because both champs like Jinx and Zeri that we've seen all over again aren't really known for stomping bot lane and rolling over bot lane, so we might see some interesting picks. Maybe the Kalista again, maybe they pick up something like the Ashe that Hansama has shown a lot, that is known for winning bot lane really, really hard. So I would like to see both bot lanes trying to just fight each other to the death to see who is better today.
We just saw it from MDK as well. I got the info that Vitality selected to be on the red side, and maybe that can lead us into a conversation about last time they played Odoamne, Vitality won. I believe they were also on the red side. We have the draft, I believe, from that game, so maybe that can inform what we will see right now.
Definitely, Vitality had red side. I don't feel like it was a matter of draft so much, or as much as we would want it to be today. It was mostly individual performance, individual stepping up, with Vetheo and Carzzy being in the driver's seat of that game. And I do think that today they are the main characters as well, because everyone on Vitality has been doing okay. Vetheo has had a little bit of an iffy game today, but he's shown many times that he has what it takes. The individual skill is there, and they just need to level up and bring this sort of aggression and sharpness that they had in week 2.
Yeah, and that's where I'm a bit worried for Vitality, honestly, because I feel like when you look at the bot lane, Carzzy especially, he's gonna be the type of player who thrives on the pressure and who knows when and where to step in difficult situations like this. But when I think of Vetheo for the past years, this is when I'm worried, because I feel like he kind of crumbles when there's pressure. So I feel like this is what he's gonna have to be careful about. And I don't want this to reflect on the draft, because I know that usually Vetheo defaults to comfort champions and stuff like this that I don't think are gonna empower Vitality as a whole quite well, and especially Carzzy.
Okay, very interesting insight. As we will go, that's the previous draft. We were not in the draft yet. I got baited super hard. But when we look at the picks, there's a lot that's still super relevant today, right? But the question is, you know, MDK has been with their backs against the wall now. Also in this last game, again, and we always say there's this momentum, this feeling of now or never. And you wonder also, Vitality has been here waiting for 7 hours. Odoamne, I don't know if you've been in that position, but it's not easy, right? And you have to keep the momentum up and then step onto that rift and know it's now or never.
It's really difficult, especially from Vitality's position, because if you play at the beginning of the day, you are sitting here and you have to stay locked in, even though you're locked out. So it is quite a difficult endeavor. But, you know, people have been here a lot of times, so now I'm sure they have, you know, great techniques and whatever. I don't know what their mojo is backstage to be in the zone for such a game, but MDK leveled up a lot. They have been very clutch today, so I'm curious to see how Vitality is showing up, because they have been out for a couple of hours now.
Yeah, they have. Let's see. Indeed, it's kind of crazy when you look at the whole year, how it all comes down to this one single game and two teams that I think have a lot that they want to leave on the rift. For Mad Lions, it was really about how much of a captain can Elyoya be, and I think definitely today we have seen that he really, I think, enabled his troops, so to say, to bring them to that last hurdle. But they're going to have to take down Vitality. Let's start talking a little bit about the draft and in more specificity. You talked about the importance of the bot lane. Will we see that prioritized? Usually we've seen the picks come out pretty quickly, right? And where is maybe the Joker from either side?
You go ahead. You're the draft master here.
I mean, I really like that Vitality threw everything they tried the last days, the last weeks out of the window and just went for a totally different style, especially compared to yesterday. I think it really worked well for them to try to break open the usual bot lane matchups, where it was actually so unplayable that SK had to lane swap, which they also matched quite well. So I think maybe they could even benefit from, again, not playing the completely standard triple tank, double carry, but instead trying to somehow break open one of the lanes and make it a really fast game where they can be the one leading the game. Because both teams, I think, are a bit struggling in respecting mid and late game sideways tempo and stuff. They both got caught a lot, and the team that has the momentum and is kind of like
On a flow?
Yeah, no, how do you say it? When you are dictating the game. So I think the team dictating
English
the
going.
it's going strong, yeah. The team dictating the game has a much easier time not getting caught, I think, because vision setup is easier and stuff like that. So I think that's really, really important for both of the teams.
Yeah.
And for me, MDK today, they showed a lot of the adaptations that we wanted them to see. Elyoya on a good pick and a lot more team cohesion, but at the same time, to play devil's advocate on what you said earlier, Laure, about Vetheo and Vitality in general. Today, they came into the match with a lot of pressure and a lot of nerves on their shoulders, and they just threw everything out the window. They picked Aurelion Sol, Lyncas all of a sudden dropped this carry shenanigan that he's trying to do, and they just went for good drafts. Aurelion Sol very unconventional. I think the first time we saw it this split, and from someone like Vetheo, it gives me a lot of confidence for this game to be a banger.
I think the main point for Vitality is a lot of win conditions or different win conditions, because I feel like when they go in game with a specific plan that can be oriented around playing in the early game or having the advantage in the early game, I don't feel like they have the necessary discipline to carry this to the late game and win games over this. So yeah, I want an easy draft on their side.
For me, two champs to watch out in this draft are Sejuani and Taliyah, because both teams, especially Vitality, have been trying to build up upon those two champions. Lyncas' only tank that he has successfully played so far is the Sejuani, and the Taliyah is also something that both teams are really keen on, even flexing jungle and mid. Elyoya also not anymore the only one playing the Zyra, even though it hasn't worked out today. Well, actually, it did work out. Yeah, it did work out. So maybe we will see that again as an answer to the Sejuani, which is quite a good matchup because you just keep accelerating and out-farming really, really hard. But maybe we even see the Sejuani first be coming out from meta, but instead it is the Taliyah, actually.
Yeah.
I like Madeline's approach here with first picking Taliyah after banning the Ezreal and the Kai'Sa, because they have been Carzzy's best champion so far, and they're properly identifying that they need to shut him down. Now I'm just curious with how are Vitality going to answer, because he's had an okay game on Varus. He was good, but at the same time,
You're talking about Vetheo or about Carzzy?
About Carzzy. We need more from Carzzy because he's the big boy here. And Jinx is probably the best pick for him given the circumstances.
I mean, I was talking about a lot of win conditions, and I love what Jinx can provide. I call it a win more champion because of the way it can activate in the late game, and that's specifically the kind of champions I feel Carzzy can shine on.
It's his comfort zone, right? The clutch game that you have to win where all the pressure is on his shoulders. He can deliver, but you can't be out of position.
Yeah, and we see the Taliyah and Seju being traded. I really like the Jinx early when they already saw the Taliyah, because usually what you want to play with Taliyah is those pick comps, right? Where you try to punish low-range champions. And with Jinx, you can just build a high-range kiteback comp, which Taliyah tends to really struggle into. Even Sejuani doesn't have to commit to fighting. She can just throw out ult, see if something happens. And Rumble builds upon that even better. You can throw the Seju ult, the Rumble ult, Jinx ult, and something will die. You will get the reset. So I really like where Vitality is going so far.
One thing that this opens up, because the Rumble pick caught me completely off guard. If you go back to previous splits, Myrwn had a plethora of champions that would go and work extremely well into the Rumble. So it does open that avenue with maybe Taliyah going mid and picking a little bit more of a tanky jungler to facilitate this sort of counter pick top. But
might be going back to something that did work for them.
Exactly.
They had all the success.
It might open up a lot more win conditions, but right now this first three from Mad Lions Koi does indicate a lot of dive and a lot of explosiveness.
I think another big point for Vitality is the Alistair here. Maybe Mad Lions even bans it out. Yeah, because this is just a champ that is really, really good at not dying to the Taliyah catch, not dying to the Rell engage.
It
creates even more space. I mean, Hylissang manages to sometimes die on Alistair even, but today was really, really good. So
it was.
They both banned the classic counters. Maybe we see something funky here. The Rell is still at least interesting. Or not the Rell, the Renata.
Selfmade tweeted, if you want to win, just put Hilly on Leona.
Yeah, they go for the Nautilus instead, which is kind of like maybe even a bit too classic, I would say.
Okay, why?
It's really vulnerable to especially the Taliyah comp. Also not the best matchup into Rell, because Rell just has better trading patterns on lane. So it's more of like a comfort point and click engage to layer even more upon with the Rumble ult and the Jinx ult. So it works, but...
Oh, the TF top? Question mark?
I'm not a big fan of this. They have tried this previously in the split, and I don't think it worked out so well from MDK. I do love this from Vitality, because this is exactly what I've been wanting from Vitality this whole split. Just two tanks, good front line for your great carries in the mid, top, and ADC department. Everywhere you have good carries, and now you have two great facilitators where no matter what you pick right now, this comp is set to be good. And if they lock in Corki, this is an amazing team comp for Vitality. This is what I wanted to see from them.
Amazing team comp versus a lot of mobility and ability to make plays?
A lot of mobility, a lot of dive potential. I'm just worried about the Viego and the ability to find resets on the champion with the composition that Vitality has. But on the side of Vitality, easy to execute, team fight, scaling, that's all they want. And Mad Lions, I feel like it's going to come down to execution and dives in the early game.
I totally agree. Especially Myrwn on the TF is make or break. If this champion gets rolling, especially with Viego Vetheo, you have the side lane pressure with Taliyah ult, can really make the game unplayable for Vitality, but he has to get ahead on top lane. Like, he really has a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and it's going to be interesting if he can handle it.
Exactly, it's as you said, it's make or break by top lane, because right now MDK's team comp doesn't have a lot of space makers. If Tiff gets ahead, he's the greatest space maker in the whole game, but we will see if he will crumble under Rumble.
Leaving it all on the line. I love it from Mad Lions Koi. They say we can make this happen, and we will for our fans, but maybe Vitality have something to say about it and they can save their season. Over to our casters.
It's the last chance of Mad, the last chance of Vitality. Only one makes it through. Rogue has already gone home. They're done for the year, and while both these teams have championship points, taking down the other would make their road to season finals that much easier. Their road into the summer playoffs that much better. We're going late tonight, but we ain't going home without our final answer. Vitality versus Mad. Who goes through?
So, audience still full of energy this evening. Support remaining strong. A lot of Mad Lions Koi fans in the arena tonight, wanting to see them do what they've done in the past. Make that run when the doubt was strong. I can tell you right now, someone asked me today, who did I think was going to get knocked out? And I genuinely thought Mad was going to be one of them. I mean, but they have managed to turn things around. They've got one last opportunity, one shot, as Eminem would say.
Great quote.
Now, of course, the 3-7 at the top of the screen is, of course, because MDK did win that tiebreaker.
True.
Let's see if they can win another. Vitality. We think about early aggression, right?
Yeah,
we praised
absolutely.
MDK last game for it, but Vitality, they still find ways to find early leads. They are hyper-aggressive. They're very good at skirmishing as a team, and they love to brawl. So MDK going to have their work cut out for them. It's really the mid-game where I expect this game to get bloody and messy.
I mean, even earlier, the game against SK was looking real good, looking like they were going to win the first game of the day.
Yep.
And then Vitality, unfortunately, couldn't get it across the line, and SK locked themselves in first place.
And that is another factor. Odoamne talked about it on the desk. Fatigue is a very real thing.
True.
It's one thing if you're playing a lot of games in succession. It's another when you're just waiting.
They've been here for like 5 hours.
Yeah, it's been a while, right? So it's been a really difficult day. Well, I mean, it could have been a very difficult. I don't know, actually, for sure.
I don't know what they were doing. Maybe playing Swarm or something.
Yeah, who knows? But having to keep that mental composure throughout what can be a very exhausting day. We'll see how they handle that. As MDK also riding the momentum off of coming off a win, right?
True.
That can be an advantage depending on the team. In any case, early trading going in favor of Fresskowy here in the mid lane, using that pressure to move into the enemy jungle, drop a ward and get some information. He will spot out Lyncas, which means that now they'll know exactly what Vitality's up to in the early game. And as Elyoya matches him on the top side, what will he look to do?
As they said on desk, you know, lanes are very important here. I think especially top lane they were focusing on for Myrwn. So MDK need to get things rolling. Elyoya obviously in the right place at the right time as he's now looking towards Krug. So Ward spots him out. Stretch line on the bot side we crash down to. And speaking of, Alvaro gets that set down. And Supa, trade against him isn't too bad from Carzzy, using that range advantage they also talked on the desk. Starts off nice and early with Elyoya getting the invade down. Looks like Lyncas just bypasses him and says, okay, I've lost my red.
Yep.
Not going to touch that.
I mean, mid did have push as well. Top has the push, which means that...
We're already fighting early enough. You said blood in the mid game, but as you rightly said a little bit before that, early game teams.
These bot lanes are very aggressive. And Supa and Alvaro fighting for the push.
Oh, Ajane and Alvaro double shattering strike as well. Carzzy's ignited. One hit away. He's igniting down, but the potion's enough. Man, that's a close call, but he's out of there. And Supa's got the wave right where he wants it.
And the reason why he can't stay is Supa has all of his summoners up.
Oy.
He knows that Supa could easily dive this with the barrier.
That's a disaster.
And he's going to have to concede that whole wave. Small advantage gained for Supa in the 2 versus 2. Great play from Alvaro. Nice flash in, forcing the flash out from Carzzy. There's a worthwhile trade. the bot lane of Badlands. And again, we talked about that momentum. You can feel that momentum already swinging in the favor of MDK.
And especially last game when we saw, you know, a lot of good engagement from Alvaro, but also Supa got really fed. Also on this same Kai'Sa. It's great to see already another early start here for the MDK fans. I mean, 15 CS lead in bot side. We think historically about Mad Lions, Koi, and Vitality this year. The star players in many different splits have been coming from the bottom side. Carzzy's one, Supa's the other. I even remember Alvaro on top of that list. You know, with parts of being hilly as Vetheo actually caught out seismic shove through mid. Wait, no. What's going on? Vetheo, that's a disaster too. First blood this time. And Vitality through bot and now mid are breaking apart.
Vetheo holds on to the flash for that entire play. I think the moment that he got stunned up, he needed to just... maybe he couldn't have flashed away from Alvaro. Whether we get the replay or not, either way, he doesn't have the TP available. He's going to have to walk back into lane. MDK find themselves with a 1k gold lead, 500 the advantage already in mid. They are riding that wave. Let's look back at this. So, uses the W already. So he knows that Alvaro is in the area. That's the first thing. Gets knocked back, stunned up. He can flash here, right here. He tries to sidestep it, but at this point I agree that there's no point flashing now. And he ends up getting punished for it. MDK naturally very happy about that. It's only a single pick, not gonna swing the game, but you take those advantages where you can get them.
But I mean, it's huge. And you know, while top lane was the focus fire, I mean, that's naturally gonna have a lead thanks to the range advantage and the Twisted Fate passive. But the Taliyah mid with an advantage. Supa on the Kai'Sa with a CS lead thanks to the wave crashing in and Carzzy almost dying. Vedius, you mentioned the 1k gold lead, it's about 1,500. And we got to remember that this team can really go semi-global, right? Like, they can start moving around the map. Now they have their level 6 as well. Elyoya's midway, that's a gold card. In another lane, surely not. He doesn't have the Heartbreaker, but Myrwn now turns his attention. The Destiny going to be used. A gold card at the ready. It's burnt down. Myrwn can now Destiny into the bush. He gets an advancement. There's the Weaver's Wall. The seismic shove back. Spain is roaring in the early game, and Vitality getting overblown as Photon tries to cook him, but ice simmers the fire as Carzzy in the 1v1 versus Supa. There's a level advantage, a zap avoided. Mad Lions are working towards players at full speed.
Violence is breaking out across the map, but it's MDK that are taking advantage of it. They find 2 kills top lane. It's a 1-for-1 trade in bot. The grub's being secured by Elyoya as well. MDK came to play in this final game. Hex Flash in from Alvaro. Misses everything.
Okay, we ignore that for now as mid is a repeat. The flash is still there as Vetheo gets poked out yet again. Look, Alvaro may miss everything in that play, but my man has been mid twice now.
Yes, he has.
And Vitality is struggling to keep up with him.
Oh,
maybe they're not. Red lines there. May have cursed this one. Alvaro
they have
on the
the damage though.
Good question. Where's the crash down? It finally comes through. He didn't have a flash to burn.
Vetheo not in a position to collapse quick enough. He had to catch that wave underneath his tower, so Alvaro gets away. MDK fans going to be very happy with the current state of the game.
Maybe that's the difference, isn't it? I mean, MDK fans, it's like almost 11 o'clock and they sound like they're at a rave. Vitality fans might need to step it up because they need some support. Bot has been, as used before, a disaster, 20 CS lead. I think more importantly, even though, by the way, there was a kill that went up to Carzzy.
Yeah, I mean, 1-for-1 is how the bot lane shenanigans played out. I imagine that they successfully punished Alvaro for him missing everything.
True.
And then Supa was able to get a kill back onto Hylissang. So ultimately, it wasn't the end of the world. Level 7 now secured for Supa, level 5 for Carzzy. His experience has been very awkward.
True.
Supa and Alvaro have been doing a very good job in this bot lane 2 versus 2. Now the junglers both make their way bot, both level 6. Here we go.
Alvaro face checking. Lyncas is in there first, but remember, this is a Rell going to take a while to die. Shattering strike, but trade first of all. No, he's taken way too long. Lyncas now getting auto attack, but Elyoya doesn't have the damage yet. He Heartbreakers away, and Vitality might have a chance. A dredge line in, a root down, but a re-engage. Alvaro gives it over to Supa, but he must get out of there. Jinx is already getting excited. Carzzy zaps away, and we'll get more resources. Elyoya escapes a death rocket until he doesn't. A third kill for Carzzy, and like that, Vitality are reignited.
Lyncas makes it work for Vitality. He buys time, lying in wait. When Alvaro face checks the brush, he initiates. They tried to hand the kill over to Carzzy, but he gets the shield off just in time.
Destiny, we're back into it. It's action all o'clock, isn't it? We run forward and Fresskowy, the great seismic shove back. He's been good today, but Photon must be better. He flashes out after using his ulti, and even with the threat of Myrwn's too, MDK still have an advantage.
Fresskowy making his presence known on the map, roaming at every opportunity. Even though Vetheo has a CS advantage, the gold lies in the favor of Fresskowy, thanks to that early kill that he was able to get. And we go back to that bot lane play. It was going to be so awkward if Carzzy couldn't get anything off the back of that.
True.
You really needed a kill. The fact that they were also able to kill Lyncas looked rather bad, but then Carzzy gets that level up, gets the ultimate available, gets 2 kills, and brings him right back into the game. It was a devastating early laning phase for him, but now he's in a much more comfortable position. Still a full level behind that of Supa, but Vitality not completely out of options just yet.
I mean, we talked about, or at least the Death did, a lot about the range of this Jinx and how important it is for composition of Vitality. Now, as again, Healy looks at the dredge line, Supa just sits there. Luckily, the wall hugged and it worked out for him as Vedius caught out again. I mean, he is having a hard game on this Corki. Fresskowy unable to find a little bit more as Vitality hover around this first dragon. And it's important to note, this first dragon is going to be a Hextech dragon as well. So,
yeah, again, we've seen such low priority on the dragons in general. Oh, nice trade from Photon, but Myrwn trades back nicely. I remember back Photon, I forget which split it was it spring or winter, where he had this insane Rumble, like, solo carry performance where they still ended up losing.
Was it both? I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but the man is very good at this champion. He is having a tough time right now just because of all the pressure that's been thrown topside.
True.
But my expectations are still high for him as a player. Myrwn, though, on this Twisted Fate, getting accelerated thanks to the ganks, thanks to the plates and the passive. Everything coming together nicely for the TF.
It's been a great last game of all regular seasons, right? You know, this rounds out our final top 8. This rounds out whose year could potentially end. As Elyoya for the gank up topside. Smite comes through after the fact. No gold card, no Spectral more, but a chance at Grubs now is on the line for MDK, which we know could lead to 6.
You see them all furiously pinging towards it. Vitality want to contest this. Vetheo gets the push in mid. Fresskowy basing. Elyoya finds himself only with his top lane as support. Speaking of, Alvaro on his way, going to be closer. TP comes in, the bot lane making their way up.
We're going to find out how far it goes. Elyoya holding on. He's got no flash available. Vitality do not want to give over. 6 Grubs in this game to a Twisted Fate in the side lane. They pressure. Photon's there with his ult at the ready. And that's enough to show that Mad will die if they come into this pit.
Carzzy is able to get the tower plate in mid lane as well. Bot lane, I think MDK made the choice to concede because they knew that Carzzy was on his way as well. By leaving Supa bot, they said, wait, this is really good for us still. Excuse me. But then Vetheo commits the teleport to be able to catch the wave. So ultimately, I still think fairly favorable for Vitality. No one's going to get the full Grub buff. But ultimately, I think a relatively even trade as MDK find themselves still with a 2k gold lead. A lot of that sitting, of course, on the Twisted Fate. We already talked about how accelerated Myrwn is right now. And yeah, I mean, also Elyoya again having another great game. Been involved in 4 of the team's 5 kills. Looking to try and be proactive on the map.
I mean, I think Fresskowy as well. They've been syncing up really nicely. We saw earlier on. You know, Fresskowy had a much better day, and he's been someone who's been criticized over this split. But on this Taliyah, alongside Elyoya, they seem very pivotal. Getting that first reset, getting that burst, that pick. MDK, their draft relies around it as they start this dragon at the very least. 13.5 minutes in. Once again, another late dragon soul. MDK at least starting the stacking now versus the Jinx team fighting comp. That's going to be a small win.
Carzzy has completed his Infinity Edge.
Yeah.
Trinity Force on its way for Vetheo soon. Ticks over to level 11. XP kind of across the board, kind of behind that of MDK. Want to keep that in mind when levels can be so valuable, especially in this mid-game. Dragon's gone though. Herald is now alive, so this should become the next big point of contention. just a matter of farming for now. Neither team really set themselves up to be ready for the Herald spawn, but Lyncas now making his way across. Carzzy going to force a bit of a trade onto Supa so that he can guarantee the push. Myrwn, of course, has control of the top wave, but it doesn't matter once Vetheo already makes his way over. So MDK actually behind on the start of this. But it doesn't mean that they're not going to respond.
Every objective that means so much. I mean, MDK have the gold lead, but depends how they get that first reset as they look for Alvaro to start the engage. The Weaver's Wall is there. They're in a choke destiny as well. Carzzy separated from the pack, and Hilly gives it over to them. It's a one-for-one trade, but with a dredge line in on a Viego, you have to run. Heartbreaker in, Myrwn threatening again with a gold card, maybe at the ready. Video's already out. I mean, that's just the fight for the Herald, and the Herald now stands there as their prize.
It's a one-for-one. And the supports just kind of melt on the front line. So many tools drop from the skies. But crucially, as you highlighted, Elyoya takes away the Nautilus, the hook comes through, Photon flashes away, it then connects onto Carzzy. He thinks that he's playing behind the front line, and then that front line disappears.
True.
So we look back at this fight. Veteo's in an awkward position. He can't really get involved because he's afraid of face-checking Supa. But then the Sejuani ultimate lands onto Alvaro. Hylissang and Alvaro drop. Photon, look at this, forced to flash, the hook connects onto Carzzy, that forces him to flash. He now feels like he can't step up. And then Myrwn and Elyoya control the space, access to the river, which then opens up the Herald for them.
I mean, Elyoya getting a dredge line in just seems like an absolute fear point as MDK now threaten topside. I mean, Myrwn's moving into position, no Destiny available, but Hilly might be caught out. Now's not the time, Hilly. He can't hit the blast cone! Supa hits him mid-air. MDK well played the control ward on the blast cone. You can't right-click.
Ward's doing work for MDKs. They find another pick. The story of the game continues to write in their favor as they control the entire top side. Top tier 2, they're accelerating this game at rapid pace. They're using the pressure they have on sides to pick apart Vitality. It's a question of will Vitality even be able to find the fights that they are looking for.
This team now almost up 4,000 gold. Herald's going to spawn mid. That leads them to the bot side as well. And it should get the charge, which it will. Turret won't fall down, but MDK now send Fresskowy bot to manage that wave too. So it's a good map play, and 4,000 gold in this early game. MDK in the driver's seat once again here in the game. This is a team that was doubted in winter, doubted in spring. We doubted them a lot, as you said, Vedius, even last game. It took them a lot to be here, a lot of circumstances. You know, the right kind of matchups.
And they needed to win.
They also needed to win, and they've done that 3 times. Well, 2 times, excuse me. This would be a third if they could get across the line.
Vitality are relying on Carzzy at this point.
Oh, yeah.
He's the only one with a gold lead on his team. He has an Infinity Edge completed, and he's working on his second item. And even considering what has been a very difficult split, I still think Carzzy has been an incredible lady carry.
True.
Like, every off-season, we hear about so many teams wanting to get Carzzy on the roster. And it's like, you always read comments about, like, why do they want Carzzy? Why is he so desirable? And I think you know, you think about the amount of success he's had, the amount of individual impact he can have, and he's an incredible player. But now the responsibility kind of falls on his shoulders. On a champion like Jinx, you can do it too.
True. One reset and you can win a fight.
Oh, 100%. So he just needs more items. He needs more time. He needs to be in the position to actually carry. The problem is he's going up against a lot of other carries.
True.
Myrwn and Elyoya are keeping their eyes on this Jinx.
Hilly.
They will have a target in mind.
Alvaro, there's an engage. They've just walked into river. The setup is so easy from MDK. Lyncas drops first. There's the reset here for Elyoya. And Vitality walking where they have no business. I mean, they knew they were all bot Vedius. Dredge line comes through, at least maybe trying to get something for Carzzy, but Vetheo runs into a gold card. Vitality, the nerve is showing.
I mean, caught completely off guard. The engage from MDK is so swift. The HP is relatively low. Photon is now here, doesn't have the ultimate. They're not going to convert it into anything. They'd love to be able to get maybe a tower back, but look at how healthy that mid-tier 1 is. A pick in favor of MDK, another dragon. Look at how quickly this gold lead is ballooning out of control.
Running away from them, Betty. Look at the replay because, you know, again, this setup from Alvaro when Vetheo just saw that their jungle was not safe.
I mean, it all comes down to communication, right? Hylissang just, he face checks. Lyncas trying to offer support, gets engaged alongside him. The Rumble ultimate looks promising, but it just doesn't have the damage. And Vitality's immediately forced to retreat. Opens up the easy dragon. And MDK riding that momentum. Hook connects onto Elyoya.
I mean, it's a start, but no one's nearby. Elyoya looking to turn it around because Alvaro's now in. Supa joins the fray as well. Destiny 2, remember, semi-globals mean they can turn on an instant here in a Joker seismic shove. Gives another reset to Elyoya with a dredge line out. It's a little bit shallow. Photon has the ulti and looks to turn it around, but Myrwn with the gold card in hand thinks of his next target. Finds Photon. Zone control there from Vitality, but they have lost another member. Hilly dies again, and MDK keep getting given more and more chances to making our top 8.
It's so easy for MDK to find picks. Just throw out the Twisted Fate ultimate, get full information as to what Vitality is up to, and then pick your target. Myrwn looking for another one.
I mean, this turret is going to be gone. Myrwn's just going to walk on in, maybe to auto him, traps out the zone out, that's great, but over, Supa, ultis through the Weaver's wall as well. Myrwn now flashes on in, a gold card, no, a red one. Once the AoE's, Vedius has to space it out. Glacial Prison missed on the side, and Hilly's going to die again! When your year hangs in a balance, Hilly, you can't be doing this. You can't be giving resets over because Elyoya will take it as he gets a smite under turret, almost 5 Vetheo at the end of the day. But Vitality are crumbling and MDK are doing it.
Vitality is completely falling apart. MDK, they know what their objective is. They want the mid tower. They think Vetheo is overextended. They go for the collapse. The traps are supposed to dissuade. But Supa says, no, I'm not afraid. I've got the Taliyah ultimate. The trap's still in the way, though, prevent him from following up. The red card comes through. And then Hilly, he oversteps. He gets knocked back by the Taliyah. The stun card with a good cleanse from Carzzy is not enough as the flash and the hook come in from Elyoya and Supa. Vetheo just barely gets away as 2 members drop once more. Look at the goal difference now. It's all blue at the bottom of your screens. MDK with calm, controlled aggression may have found another.
Big shove again, and now the poke from Supa really means business. He's got the AP scaling on it with the blasting one that gives the W upgrade. Every time you see the second skin procs as well, Supa's willing to jump in as this choke is dangerous. MDK control vision. They've got top wave pushing in. Baron spawns there, and Vitality are now hoping for a pick, a miracle to get them back into this game.
Alliance Core just leveraging the lack of information right now. The blue trinket used to gain information inside the Baron pit, which means that Vitality don't have to face check. Top wave continues to be pushed in by Myrwn. You can see how uncomfortable Vitality are right now. Mid, top, constantly getting pushed in.
Yeah.
They're forced to fight their way into their own side of the jungle. Carzzy's still so far away from his third item.
Betty, you know, I'm worried because even if it doesn't turn into a fight, even if Vitality can stop MDK from finding those picks that they've been doing, thanks to Fresskowy, thanks to Elyoya, Alvaro especially too. Myrwn runs the side lane. 3k gold lead here, 3 items here with a rapid fire cannon. And with 3 grubs, that's enough. I mean, even Fresskowy's damage to turrets will be significant enough. Vitality gonna play defense. And Mad are gonna continue taking resources from the map until the gold just continues ballooning further out of control.
Mad Lions Koi have had a disappointing split overall, but they can redeem a lot of it right here. Their last 2 games have been very solid. I feel like that they are a momentum-based team, and they're going to start this one off. Could this be a disaster?
Don't flip it. I mean, if Elyoya does, he's already low enough. He's going to have to pick up the lettuce in the supermarket aisle as Hylissang gets out with the dredge line. The poke from Supa's enough, but hey, on the other side, Vedius is also doing damage as a 2-item Corki.
They're funneling gold into Carzzy right now, trying to give him as much as humanly possible.
True. Good range. He's got RFC, Betty, so he can actually dispute some of it.
But there's the dragon. bounties available as well. Vitality.
Oh my god, Alvaro does it again. The Magnet Storm is there, the Shattering Strike, the Weaver's Wall zones them off. Vitality walking into the Lion's Den. Myrwn gets on the other side of it, Supa reignites on the right side too. Lyncas left alone, and Vitality have to watch him out. You're looking at Carzzy, you can try and carry the fight, but as he spaces out, his whole team has burnt to crisp. Myrwn with the RSC, the cleanse comes through, but Carzzy needs to get out of there, or Mad will just take them for ease. Carzzy drops yet another. Vitality are gone. It's grey screen as Mad continue to pounce.
Mad Lions Koi continue to ride the wave. Vitality gets torn asunder. And the fight starts off with an engage from Alvaro. Nice interrupt from Lyncas. The wall comes through, isolating Carzzy. They don't turn their attention to him, but he gets a bit of a reset. But then look at how the fight moves up towards the top side. Vetheo gets engaged on. Carzzy doesn't really have any ability to hit. Then Fresskowy with a really nice knockback takes away the other frontline member. And MDK continue the chase. They've won enough fights now. They've got enough of a gold lead. They've got themselves the Baron. They're making the run happen. They're looking to secure a spot in the top 8 of Summer.
No wonder the fan base is so excited. As you said, it's been a rough split. They never thought they'd be in this position, but now against Vitality, who almost took out SK earlier on, they are struggling. They're going to teleport in Betty, and for this third drag, and they put it on the line again. Hilly gets the dredge line in. It could set up Carzzy, who gets excited. He's got range as well. You have to be careful, even though Elyoya gets the reset. They need to kill Carzzy. He flushes in, he dredge lines in, he heartbreakers, and he's blowing the veins from the aorta of Vitality's own. There's another reset, there's another ace, and Mad are on all fours, ready to roar into the playoffs again.
That might just be it. All 5 members are down once more with a Baron buffed wave. 26 minutes in, MDK are looking to stomp Vitality.
Who knew that with such an abysmal split, Mad will be in tiebreakers, let alone take down Rogue, let alone go up against Vitality, and in 26 minutes, move into playoffs again. We were wrong, we admit, we doubted Mad this split, but no more, because they always find a way to make playoffs this year.
An impressive game to round out the tiebreakers. From start to finish, it felt like the game was in their control. Pick after pick, they continued to find plays. Elyoya stepped up massively, 4, 1, and 16. He was involved in the team's 22 kills 20 times.
That's Elyoya for you, I mean.
When the man needed to have a carry performance, he does just that. And Mad Lions Koi will cement a spot in the playoffs.
And I mean, this is a team, remember, who we were talking on earlier in the day. They've got a lot of championship points. They're at 155. They're actually, what, top 4 or top 5 at the moment.
Yeah, they're already in 4th place right now.
So the difference is that now knocking down Vitality makes it a much better chance for them to make top 6 for season finals.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's enough by itself. Obviously, that's Matt later on to come through after this very explosive day, but Mad may have done enough. I mean,
it's been a crazy day.
It's been a crazy split for them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, again, I said a word abysmal because it was disappointing. I just can't believe they beat first Rogue and then beat Vitality.
Now we are, of course, getting ready for an interview on stage. It looks like it's going to be with Elyoya.
Yeah.
And I mean, what a carry performance from him, from the team. They stepped up when they need to.
True.
As they will send Vitality home, and that could very well be the end of their year. I believe it is, based on the points.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, they still do have a bit because they made playoffs in both splits, but at least the 9 for now. We'll find out. That is it for us for the end of the regular season. We're going to throw to an interview with Elyoya after that mad carry performance, and I mean mad.
Victorious Elyoya here tonight in Berlin. Thank you so much for joining me, and congratulations. It's been an exhausting day for you guys. Tell me about the development. You come in for the first game in the studio, you have to sit around for like, what was it, 4 or 5 hours, and finally you play back-to-back games to finally make it. How was it?
I mean, it's been so fun. I think this day, it was insane so far. I think I had more fun in this whole day than whole split, pretty much.
All right.
So I'm pretty happy. And right now I'm full of dopamine and everything I can. I'm not even tired. But I know as soon as I go to the bed, I'm going to crash.
Nice. That's what we want. A good night's sleep here, of course. Thank you for the fans who stayed as well. You guys won as many games on stage today as you did for the rest of the split. What was the difference maker today? Because talking to Malzet yesterday, he was telling me that the confidence is there, you guys are winning scrims, but it doesn't translate to stage. Anything different today for you?
Yeah, I think I played much different. I think previous days I was not finding myself in the games. Being honest, I was choking. I think the pressure was... I was not dealing well with the pressure. I'm not going to say it's too much, but I was not dealing well with the pressure. And I feel like today I could find a click that made me play much better. And I think when I play better, the whole team around me just works much better. I
mean, it feels like this. You're kind of the anchor. Look at this beautiful moments here. Honestly, you live for moments like this. When you see the rookies that you chose, that you build a project with, thriving under pressure into grabbing yet another qualification to playoff. I don't know, I feel like that's the reward that you want for building a project like this. Do you feel happy today, Elyoya, and proud of the rookies that you had with you?
Yeah, I mean, and to us, this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, we really wanted this, and now it's our turn to prove how good of a team we can be. So, yeah, we're really excited.
I do believe in momentum, and I do believe in ramping up, and with the way you guys ramped up today, winning back-to-back convincingly with the strength of doing it. What is your gut feeling when you think about playoffs? We're going to have the opponents later, but what is your mindset when it comes to momentum and the fact that it can help you? Because I do believe you had the same thing in winter when you made finals, actually.
Yeah, it was the same. But I think right now I have a different approach. To me, every game it's one more chance to know myself better, because at the end, I play to win Worlds. To me, this is the real objective, so I want to get as much practice as I can to be able to show my best performance and not choke again. So this is how I approach playoffs.
You tell me about knowing yourself better. You knew that you were choking and you managed to bounce back. What has been the biggest learning for you personally? Maybe the way you handle pressure in moments like this?
Honestly, just have fun.
Having fun, okay.
Yeah, I think.
And it's been the recipe for success for Mad Lions Corki so far. So
for
hopefully
today,
you
yes.
can bring, and even in Winter Split when you had success. Hopefully you can carry this fun in playoffs. Any words for the fans? They've been here all day. It's been such a long day for everyone.
Thank you for being there. Like, even after we are 1-7, that is not easy to support a team that is always losing. So, I mean, this really shows like who the real fans of a team are, and you guys really proved it, so thank you so much.
Gracias. Thank you to the fans, and thank you so much, Elyoya.
Thank you so much.
Of course, best of luck for playoffs. And I'm going to send it over to PGL with Sjokz, and we're going to have the draw right after that. Stay tuned.